The night before my wedding was supposed to be magical, a time for last-minute excitement, giddy nerves, and happy tears. But instead, I sat alone in my hotel room staring at my phone, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The screen glowed in the dim light, displaying a text message that shattered my world. "You deserve to know the truth before you say I do." At first, I thought it was some kind of joke, a cruel prank. But then my breath hitched when I saw the image attached. My fingers trembled as I tapped the screen, enlarging the photo. The air in the room suddenly felt too thick, suffocating. I swallowed hard. My throat was dry as sandpaper. The picture wasn't grainy, it wasn't ambiguous, it was clear as day. Lena, my best friend since childhood, my maid of honor, the woman who had stood by my side through every heartbreak, every triumph, and Daniel, the man I was supposed to marry. In less than 12 hours, they were together in a hotel room. His shirtless body pressed against hers, their limbs tangled in the sheets like a sick, twisted nightmare come to life. I gasped, the sound barely escaping my lips. My stomach churned violently, and for a moment, I thought I might actually be sick. My hand clamped over my mouth as I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to block out the image, but it was burned into my mind like a brand. No, this can't be real. I forced myself to breathe shallow, ragged breaths. My chest ached with each inhale, but I needed to stay calm. I needed answers. With shaking hands, I tapped on Lena's name in my contacts and pressed call. The phone barely rang once before she picked up. "Hey, Soph," she said, her voice too cheerful, too normal, as if she wasn't a complete traitor. I didn't speak right away. My pulse thundered in my ears, my fingers digging into the bedspread. "Lena," my voice came out eerily calm, controlled. "I just got a text." Silence. A beat too long, and then the shift in her tone. "What? What do you mean?" "You know exactly what I mean." I squeezed my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. "Don't you dare lie to me, Lena." A sharp inhale on the other, and then a quiet, "Oh my God." Her voice wavered. "Sophia, please. I shot to my feet, pacing the room. Tell me it's not true." My voice cracked. "Tell me this is some sick joke." She didn't answer right away, and in that silence, I felt my heart break all over again. Finally, a shaky breath. "It was just one night. Just one night." A bitter laugh bubbled in my throat but died before it could escape. My vision blurred with tears. My hands shook so badly I could barely keep hold of my phone. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something, to break something, to make her feel even an ounce of the devastation coursing through me. Instead, I swallowed down the lump in my throat and asked the only question that mattered. When? A sob. "On the other end, last week. It was a mistake, Soph. I swear, we were drunk. It didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything." I let her words settle, let them sink in like poison in my veins. My body felt ice cold, yet my skin burned, my hands curled into fists. "You slept with my fiancé," I whispered, my voice barely audible. "And you didn't think I deserved to know?" "I was scared," she admitted, her voice breaking. "I didn't want to lose you." I let out a humorless chuckle, wiping my damp cheeks. "Well, you did." A pause, then a broken sob. "Sophia, please don't do this. The wedding. You love Daniel. Don't throw everything away over a mistake." I exhaled shakily, my mind spinning. I should have been devastated, destroyed. But something inside me shifted, hardened. I wiped my tears away and steadied my voice. "Oh, I understand, Lena." Sniffled. "You do?" "Yes," I murmured, staring at my reflection in the mirror. My face was pale, my eyes rimmed red, but deep in those tired eyes, a spark ignited, one she didn't recognize. The wedding is still on, I said smoothly. We'll talk tomorrow. I ended the call before she could respond, my lips curving into a small, cold smile. She thought this was over. She had no idea what was coming. The morning of my wedding should have been the happiest day of my life. Instead, I stood in front of the mirror staring at my reflection, feeling like a stranger, in my own body. My wedding dress hung from the closet door, pristine and untouched, while my mind replayed Lena's trembling voice from the night before. It was just one night. I swallowed the lump in my throat, forcing a slow breath. The morning light streamed through the sheer curtains, bathing the room in a golden glow. It felt ironic, like the universe was mocking me. The world looked so normal, so peaceful, yet inside I was unraveling. My heart clenched as I thought about Daniel, the man I had once believed was my forever. Was he waking up right now, getting ready for our wedding, pretending nothing had happened? A sharp knock at the door snapped me out of my thoughts. I turned, pulse spiking. Sophia? It's me, Lena. My fingers curled into my palms, nails digging into my skin. For a fleeting moment, I considered ignoring her, letting her stand out there, drowning in guilt. But no, I wasn't going to make this easy for her. I opened the door, and there she was, my best friend, the person who had been by my side through everything. Her eyes were already glistening with tears, her bottom lip trembling. She looked small, fragile even, like a child waiting for punishment. "Oh, Soph," she whispered, stepping forward as if she wanted to hug me. I held up a hand, stopping her in her tracks. "Don't." My voice was flat, emotionless. Her breath hitched, and she quickly wiped at her eyes. "I didn't know if you'd even talk to me," she admitted. "I barely slept last night. I hate myself for what I did." I watched her carefully, taking in every detail. The way she wrung her hands, the nervous shift of her weight from foot to foot, the way her voice cracked just enough to sound remorseful. But all I could think was how many times she had seen me talk about Daniel with stars in my eyes, knowing what she had done. How many times she had smiled, pretended, acted as if she wasn't hiding the ultimate betrayal. I just need to explain," she stammered, her hands shaking. "Please, Sophia." I tilted my head slightly, pretending to consider it. "Explain?" "Oh, you mean tell me that you were drunk? That it meant nothing?" I let out a humorless laugh. "You already did that last night." Lena flinched. "I know, but I need you to understand. I never meant to hurt you. I would take it back if I could." I crossed my arms, my nails pressing into my skin. "If you truly loved me as a friend, it never would have happened." Her eyes darted down, unable to hold my gaze. That was all the confirmation I needed. "Look," she tried again, her voice cracking. "The wedding is today, and... God, Sophia, I don't want you to hate me." Hate. The word felt so small compared to the hurricane inside me. But I kept my expression eerily calm. "I don't hate you, Lena." I exhaled, watching her shoulders loosen ever so slightly, as if she believed there was a sliver of hope left for her. "I just see you for who you really are now." Her face crumbled. "Please." I smiled a slow, deliberate smile that made her fidget under my gaze. "Don't worry. The wedding is still happening." Her eyes widened. "It is?" I nodded. "Of course." Relief flooded. Her expression, her posture relaxing for the first time since she walked in. "Oh, thank God. I thought you might call it off." I took a step closer, watching the hope bloom in her eyes. "I meant what I said last night, Lena. I understand." She blinked, confused. You do?" I nodded again, softer this time, tilting my head as if I were the same Sophia she had always known. as if I weren't already 10 steps ahead of her. "Yes," I murmured, my voice gentle. "And I think you will too." Lena's smile faltered. Something in my tone made her uneasy, but she didn't press. She exhaled shakily, running a hand through her hair. "I promise I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you." I simply smiled again. "Oh, I know you will." She didn't realize that by the time this day was over, she wouldn't be the one comforting me. She would be the one in tears. The wedding venue was breathtaking. Rows of white roses lined the aisle, their scent heavy in the warm afternoon. Air, the soft hum of a string quartet played in the background, their delicate notes floating through the space like a lullaby meant to soothe my nerves, but nothing could calm the storm brewing inside me. I stood in the bridal suite staring at my reflection, my fingers gripping the edge of the vanity. The mirror showed a picture of perfection. A bride draped in a gown of ivory lace, her hair in soft waves, her makeup flawless. But if you looked closer, really looked, you'd see the cracks beneath the surface. The slight tremble in my hands, the tension in my jaw, the fire burning behind my eyes. A knock at the door. I turned, my heartbeat spiking, expecting Lena. But instead, my mother peeked inside, her face glowing with excitement. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, stepping in with misty eyes. "You look absolutely radiant." I forced a smile, though it felt like a mask stretching across my face. "Thanks, Mom." She walked over, gently adjusting the veil cascading down my back. "Are you nervous?" she asked, her voice filled with warmth. I met her gaze in the mirror, hesitating. Nervous? No, that wasn't the right word. A bride nervous about her wedding is one thing, but a bride standing on the edge of betrayal, waiting to set everything ablaze, that was something else entirely. "I'm just ready," I said finally, watching her expression soften with understanding. She thought I meant ready to marry Daniel. If only she knew. A second knock, firmer this time. I knew before I even turned who it was. "Come in," I said, smoothing the lace on my dress. The door creaked open, and Daniel stepped inside. His tall frame filled the doorway. He looked as handsome as ever. His tailored black suit hugged his body perfectly, his dark hair neatly styled. His expression, however, was unreadable. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. His eyes flickered over me, lingering as if memorizing every detail. "You look incredible," he finally said, his voice quieter than usual. I tilted my head slightly, searching his face for any sign of guilt, any remorse. But there was nothing. Just the same smooth confidence, the same easy charm that had fooled me before. I let out a small, breathy laugh. "I bet you said the same thing to Lena." The color drained from his face so fast I almost pitied him. Almost. His throat bobbed as he swallowed hard. "Sophia, please." "Please what?" I arched an eyebrow, feigning contemplation. "You know," I murmured, tracing my fingers along the vanity's edge. It's funny how people always say it meant nothing when they destroy someone's life. His hands reached for mine, but I pulled away before he could touch me. His face twisted with something that looked like pain. "Sophia, I love you. I never stopped loving you. It was a mistake, but it doesn't change how I feel about you." I tilted my head, pretending to consider his words. "So, if I had done the same thing to you, if I had spent a drunken night in another man's bed, you'd still be standing here, still asking me to marry you?" His jaw clenched. He didn't answer. That's what I thought. I turned back to the mirror, my fingers grazing the intricate beading on my gown. "Tell me something, Daniel. If no one had told me, if no one had sent that picture, were you ever going to confess?" Silence. I turned to face him again, watching as his eyes darted away, his chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. That flicker of guilt. There it was. Not because he regretted what he did, but because he got caught. I exhaled slowly, letting the tension stretch between us like a thin, fraying thread. Then I smiled. "Oh, Daniel," I said, my voice dripping with something sweet and unreadable. "You don't have to worry. The wedding is still happening." His eyes snapped to mine, searching my expression. Confused, hopeful, desperate. I don't deserve you." I took a slow step forward, letting him think, for just a moment, that everything was going to be okay, that I was the kind, forgiving woman he had once promised forever to. My lips curved upward. Oh, I know, because by the time this day was over, Daniel wouldn't just regret what he had done, he'd never forget it. The ceremony was about to begin. The guests were seated. The air buzzed with quiet anticipation. Soft murmurs and the occasional rustling of fabric filled the grand hall, mingling with the scent of roses and fresh linen. From behind the heavy double doors, I could hear the string quartet playing softly, their melody delicate and hopeful. I stood just outside, gripping my bouquet. The white roses were cool against my trembling fingers. The weight of my dress settled around me, a beautiful illusion of purity and innocence. Even as my mind was anything but. Beside me, my father adjusted his tie, his face glowing with pride. "You ready, sweetheart?" he asked, his voice warm, steady. I turned to him, offering a small, practiced smile. More than ever. The doors would open any second now, and I would walk down the aisle to the man I was supposed to spend my life with. The man who had betrayed me. The best friend who had stabbed me in the back would be watching, standing just a few feet away. I exhaled slowly. My heart was a strange mix of nerves and anticipation. Then the doors creaked open. The moment felt surreal. The guests stood, turning toward me, a sea of smiling faces, oblivious to the storm raging beneath the surface. My father's arm wrapped securely around mine as we took the first step. And there he was, Daniel, standing at the altar in his perfectly tailored suit, his hands clasped in front of him, his eyes locked onto mine, filled with something unreadable. Relief, maybe, or hope. The way his lips parted slightly, as if he was seeing me for the first time, made my stomach churn. Lena stood just to the side, a bouquet in her hands, her dress matching the other bridesmaids. But there was something off about her. She was stiff, too still, her eyes flickering between me and Daniel, as if she wasn't sure what was about to happen. Good. I kept my expression calm, serene, the perfect image of a blushing bride. Step by step, I moved forward. My heartbeat steadied, my resolve hardened. When I reached the altar, my father gently lifted my veil, pressing a soft kiss to my forehead before stepping back. Daniel took my hands, his grip just a little too tight, as if he was afraid I might disappear. "You look breathtaking," he murmured. I smiled. "Thank you." The officiant cleared his throat, beginning his carefully rehearsed speech. Words that should have meant something, should have felt like the beginning of forever. Instead, they were nothing more than empty syllables to me now. And then my moment arrived. "If anyone here has reason why these two should not be wed," the officiant said, "speak now or forever hold your peace." Silence. A tense, expectant silence. I took a slow, deliberate breath and turned my head toward Lena. Her fingers tightened around her bouquet. Her shoulders were rigid. "Oh, actually," I said, my voice light, almost amused. "I do." A ripple of confusion spread through the room, murmurs, a few gasps. Daniel stiffened beside me. "Sophia? What are you?" I let go of his hands and reached down, slipping my phone from the delicate folds of my dress. My fingers moved quickly. My heartbeat steadied. I tapped the screen, and then, just like that, the projector flickered to life. The massive screen behind us lit up, casting an eerie glow over the altar. The guests turned, whispers rose, an image filled the space. There, they were, Daniel and Lena, tangled together in a hotel bed just last week. The oxygen seemed to be sucked from the room. A sharp inhale from the crowd. Someone gasped. Lena dropped her bouquet. Daniel took a stumbling step forward, his face pale, his eyes darting wildly between me and the screen. "What the hell?" His voice cracked. I tilted my head, my expression calm. "Oh, Daniel. Don't look so surprised. You weren't planning on telling me?" Lena's lip trembled, her hands shaking at her sides. "Sophia, please." I turned to her, my voice softer now, almost pitying. "You know, Lena." I was really struggling with how to handle this, whether I should just disappear, cancel the wedding, cry myself to sleep. I let out a small laugh, but then I thought, why should I be the one embarrassed? Why should I be the one left brokenhearted? Daniel took another step toward me. "Baby, let's talk about this." I held up a hand, silencing him. "Number. We're done talking." The guests were frozen, eyes bouncing between us, between the scandal unfolding before them. Some covered their mouths in shock. Others were whispering furiously, their curiosity insatiable. I turned back to the officiant, offering a sweet smile. "I think we're done here." And with that, I turned, lifted my dress, and walked back down the aisle, alone, with my dignity intact. Behind me, I heard Lena's choked sob, Daniel's frantic voice, the sound of whispers spreading like wildfire. But I didn't stop. I didn't look back. And for the first time since I received that text, I felt free. The moment I stepped outside the venue, the warm air hit me like a wave, carrying the scent of roses and freshly cut grass. But I barely noticed. My mind was still buzzing, my pulse still racing from what had just happened, the whispers, the gasps, the stunned silence. It all played in my head like a beautifully orchestrated symphony of justice. I had done it. I had walked away. And yet, as I stood there, heels sinking slightly into the soft earth, I felt nothing. No pain, no regret, no sorrow, just an eerie, liberating calm, the kind that comes when you finally let go of something that was never truly yours. Behind me, the doors to the venue burst open. Suddenly, I heard him. "Sophia." Wait. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. I could already picture him, Daniel, stumbling out, tie loosened, desperation painted all over his face. The weight of his actions had finally settled on him, but it was too late. Too damn late. "Sophia, please, just talk to me." I let out a quiet laugh, shaking my head. Fix this? Was he serious? He had slept with my best friend, lied to my face, let me plan a wedding while carrying this betrayal in his chest. He had been ready to stand in front of all those people and make vows. To me, knowing he had already broken every promise. I turned slowly, meeting his gaze. His dark eyes were pleading. His hands were running through his hair in frustration. He looked broken. "Good. Why?" I asked simply, my voice steady, almost curious. His lips parted, but no words came out. He struggled for an answer, like a fish gasping for air. I stepped closer, watching him flinch slightly, as if he could already sense that I wasn't the woman who had once loved him. "You knew I would find out eventually," I continued, my voice softer now. "So, were you ever planning to tell me?" He swallowed hard. I didn't want to lose you." A sharp, bitter laugh escaped me before I could stop it. "Well," I said, tilting, my head. "You should have thought about that before crawling into bed with Lena." His jaw clenched. I could see the panic rising in his eyes, the way his fingers twitched at his sides, desperate to reach for me, to fix this in whatever twisted way he thought was possible. But there was no fixing this. "I love you," he whispered, voice cracking. Love, a word that used to make my heart flutter. A word that once felt like home, but now it felt like a cruel joke, an insult. "No, Daniel," I said, my voice firm. "You don't. If you did, you never would have put me in this position. You wouldn't have risked losing me." His lips parted. Another weak excuse forming, but before he could speak, another voice cut through the air. Lena. She had followed him out. Her face was pale. Tear streaks stained her cheeks. She looked small. Pitiful. "Sophia," she choked out. "Please, just—" I held up a hand, silencing her instantly. "I don't need to hear it," I said calmly. "Not from you. Not ever again." Her lower lip trembled. For a moment, I thought she might actually collapse under the weight of her guilt. But I didn't care. She had made her choices, and now she had to live with them. I took a slow breath, letting the night air fill my lungs. "I want you both to remember this moment," I said quietly, my gaze locking onto Lena first, then Daniel. "Because this is the last time you'll ever see me like this. Heartbroken, wounded, betrayed." Daniel reached for me one last time, but I stepped back. "Goodbye, Daniel." His hand fell uselessly to his side, and with that, I turned on my heel. My dress trailed behind me like a ghost of the life I had almost chosen. The whispers continued. Guests stared in shock, some in admiration, others in awe. But I didn't care. I walked away, with my head held high, my dignity intact. And for the first time in weeks, no, months, I felt free. As I reached the parking lot, my phone buzzed in my hand. A message from my cousin Emily. "You are a damn legend. Drinks on me tonight." A slow smile spread across my lips. Maybe the night wasn't ruined after all. Because this wasn't the end of my story, it was only the beginning. That night, I didn't go home. I didn't go back to the bridal suite where my carefully packed honeymoon bags still sat untouched. I didn't return to the venue where the wreckage of my almost wedding remained. Tables half cleared, guests murmuring in small groups. Daniel and Lena left to deal with the aftermath of their own destruction. Instead, I found myself at a rooftop, bar high above the city. The skyline stretched endlessly before me. The cool night breeze kissed my skin, carrying away the remnants of the evening's chaos. I clutched a glass of wine, the deep red liquid swirling as I traced my finger along the rim. My mind finally caught up with everything that had happened. It was over. Not just the wedding, not just the relationship, but the version of myself who would have forgiven too easily, who would have swallowed her own pain for the sake of appearances. I took a slow sip, letting the bitterness settle on my tongue. It was fitting, this moment of solitude, this quiet realization that I had survived something I once thought would destroy me. Sophia. I turned at the sound of my name, finding Emily sliding into the seat beside me. My cousin, my friend, the only person who had texted me after the disaster, not with pity, but with admiration. She grinned, setting down a fresh drink. That was the most badass thing I've ever seen. I let out a small, breathy laugh, the first real one in what felt like forever. "You think so?" Emily's eyes gleamed. "Are you kidding? You walked out of your own wedding like a queen, and the look on their faces? Priceless." She clinked her glass against mine. "So, what's next?" What was next? That was the real question, wasn't it? For so long, my future had been wrapped up in Daniel, in the house we were going to buy, in the trips we had planned, in the life I had envisioned standing beside him. And now, all of it had been ripped away, leaving behind what? The unknown. And yet, for the first time in a long time, the unknown didn't scare me. I set my glass down, staring out at the shimmering lights below. I don't know, I admitted. But for once, I think that's a good thing. Emily leaned back, studying me. No regrets? I exhaled, considering. No, not even a little. Because the truth was, I didn't regret loving Daniel. I didn't regret trusting Lena. What I regretted was ignoring my own instincts. Ignoring the small moments when things felt off. Ignoring the times when I had put my happiness second to theirs. Never again. Emily nudged me playfully. Well, whatever comes next, just know I'm proud of you, and you deserve way better than that idiot. I smirked. I know. The realization felt good, powerful, even. Just then, my phone buzzed on the table. I glanced at the screen. My stomach tightened when I saw Daniel's name. A part of me had expected this, maybe even waited for it, but I didn't feel that familiar pang of hope, the one that used to whisper. Maybe he's sorry. Maybe he really loves you. I simply picked up the phone, stared at his name for a long moment, and then deleted the message before even opening it. Emily raised an eyebrow. Didn't even read it? Nope, she grinned. Now that's gross. I smiled, leaning back into my seat, the tension finally draining from my body. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't looking back. I was only moving forward. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted the most? How did you handle it? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts.